welcome. This is Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson. I am ecstatic that you are here with me today. As always, I want to encourage you to go to CourtneyAnderson.com. That's our central website where we have our blog. We have these daily audio, radio, talk show / podcast series. We've got the entire show listing. We also have our video podcast, our television show. We've got articles, we've got links, we've got everything that I'm talking about, and we're building it out and adding new resources for you literally every day. So please stop by CourtneyAnderson.com. Wherever you accessed our program, if there's an ability for you to leave a rating or a review, that is hopefully either constructive and or helpful. If you're on iTunes, if you're on Stitcher, anywhere that you are, please go ahead and do so. Let other people be aware of if you found this resource to be of assistance. Let other people be aware of that so that they may be able to join in our community. This is episode number 176. This is the 176th episode of Solutions with Courtney Anderson. That's so 176 times. I have done my best to be able to provide for you some content that is going to be helpful with you surpassing your goals and making sure that the quality of life that you have is everything that you planned for. So 176 episodes. Again, we have a specific show page. We have an entire page on our website, so CourtneyAnderson.com, and you're going to find a page that's just dedicated to episode 176. This show is one of our Joyful Art of Business series. And the Joyful Art of Business is a series where we are all focused on ensuring that when we look at our work, whether it's paid or volunteer, we're just going to label that business, that we're going to measure our return on investment, our ROI, on how we feel. We're not just going to look and say, hey, how much money did I make? What do other people think about my job title? Does it make my relatives proud of me? Does it impress other people? We are going to ask ourselves, what do we think? How do we feel? And these are really easy things, because if your stomach hurts, if your head hurts, if every day that you have to go to do your work, you think, I wish I never had to go there again. If you can't wait to stop doing your work or leave your work location, these are all clues that this is not the optimum situation for you. So you need to pay attention to that, because it's extremely important. And so what we're doing is we're ensuring that we are having a positive overall reaction to what we're doing with our business, right? So we're calling our business an artistic endeavor, because we bring something individual to every single thing that we do. That's why it's art. It's the art of business. And we need to make sure that we are vigilant, we are focused, we are monitoring the situation to ensure that this is something that we feel positive about. Not every single nanosecond is going to be, just sheer bliss, but overall, more often than not, it's a good thing. If you feel bad, then I don't care how much money you make, I don't care what other people think about you, I don't care how proud other people are, it's not the right thing for you, because you feel horrible. And often there are going to be really negative consequences of you feeling negative. So you're not joyful overall, but you're really negative, you hate it. That's going to come out at some point. Often with really negative choices and ramifications of those bad feelings, you'll sabotage yourself, you'll begin to have other mental and physical consequences to this ongoing and chronic negative situation. So we have to pay attention to this. It's really important. So we are practicing the Joyful Art of Business in the series. This individual show is episode 176. And goodness gracious, what is it about? Well, this show, specifically the episode, is each time that you treat yourself badly, your enemies rejoice. So stop. Each time that you treat yourself badly, your enemies rejoice. Woo, they rejoice. I'm visualizing enemies rejoicing. And this is one of the shows that, as we were preparing the show lineup and working through the show notes, I was eager to commence, because this is an issue that has come up, I don't know how many times, in so many different settings. I've had discussions with people when I'm as an attorney with a client, trying to help them understand the consequence of them making really poor choices, right? Is empowering exactly whatever it is in life that they are arguing is, sort of arrayed against them. So if somebody says, hey, it's so hard, I come from a really economically tough part of the world, and I didn't even have a good opportunity for a reasonable education, and I'm having all these problems as a result of that. I have really poor math skills, and it's difficult for me to get the job I need. And I'm listening, and I'm like, yes, I hear you totally. This is awful. This is horrible, right? And then they go and they treat themselves badly. So maybe they engage in activity that's criminal. And my argument is that every time you do that, every time you hurt yourself, every time you treat yourself badly, then whatever enemy, and let's be clear about enemy, we're not just talking about, some dastardly, villain you have in your life, but you need to think bigger than that. The enemy may be that you were in maybe the socioeconomic system that you have been in or are in. Maybe it's a political thing. Maybe there are broader forces, right? In society that you need to deal with. Maybe it's a cultural issue. Maybe the enemy is ignorance. Maybe the enemy is abuse. Maybe the enemy is your own insecurity. Maybe the enemy is something that you use to go ahead as a tool and to hurt yourself badly. So maybe it's food, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's prescription medication, maybe it's exercise. It could be anything that you turn into an enemy. And every single time that you treat yourself badly, those enemies are rejoicing. And like I said, it could be as an attorney where I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I understand the logic the person's explaining to me. I understand why they're angry. I understand why they've made not good choices to a certain point. And I understand that they really are frustrated. I feel that. I understand it. What can we do to try to address some of that? But then they lose me when they start telling me that they made the decision to treat themselves badly. And it's because of all these other, we'll just label enemies, right? Because maybe it was a inadequate education. Maybe there are other things that they're upset about. The thing is, when you go ahead and you abuse yourself and you treat yourself poorly, then you can't complain about the situation, because you're doing exactly what the enemy wanted you to do. They wanted you to fail. They wanted you to sabotage yourself. They wanted you to end up where you waste all your time sitting around incarcerated. They want you to flunk out of school or quit. Now remember, it's ideally, this shouldn't be like an individual person or whatever, because that is often unhealthy and juvenile, and many times people waste a lot of time on that. It could be that it just is maybe it's a structural issue of a society. Maybe it's again, it could be anything. It could be, again, something that's not really, an issue for most people, but you use it as a tool against yourself. Right? Again, food or exercise or alcohol or anything. So let's start looking at this, because I said I got really eager because it's something that I've had so many conversations with people in so many settings. So as their lawyer, I'm begging them, please stop sabotaging yourself, stop hurting yourself, stop treating yourself so badly. But they keep doing it, while complaining about all these horrible things that in life that have happened or that are happening, and that they often are really accurate, that have played a role in the situation they're in. But instead of them taking the opposite tactic and thinking, you know what, I'm going to forget these enemies, meaning I'm going to discard whatever it is that enemies tried to set up for me to fail, and I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Instead, they go ahead and do exactly what the enemy wants. The enemy, again, it could be a collective idea, it could be a physical, tangible, substance, and in rare instances, maybe it is an individual. Maybe there were situations where you were abused or had awful things happen to you. Whoever, whatever that system is or that entity is, every time you turn around and you make a choice that hurts yourself, that treats yourself poorly and badly, you are giving them exactly what they want. That's what they wanted, and you're giving it to them. Why? That's the purpose of the show. That's why the show says, each time that you treat yourself badly, your enemies rejoice. So stop treating yourself bad. Let's dig in a little bit more. So bad. I have in the show notes, again, CourtneyAnderson.com. Come to the show page 176 if you've found our file, downloaded it at another one of our distribution. Again, iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, Blog Talk Radio, wherever you found it. Within the file should be embedded a tag that'll have a link to this specific show page. And if not, you can just come to CourtneyAnderson.com, put in the search field episode 176, or treat yourself badly or whatever, and it'll take you right to the page. You'll see the definition for bad. Let's start with bad. Bad means low or poor in quality, not correct or proper, not pleasant, pleasing, or enjoyable. Okay, we got that link there to the dictionary I used on the show page. Let's look at badly, because this is saying each time that you treat yourself badly. Now, what do we mean by that? Now, bad, we know, means low or poor quality, not pleasant, pleasing, or enjoyable. So you're treating yourself in low or poor quality. You're treating yourself incorrectly or improperly. And you're treating yourself in a way that's not pleasant, pleasing, or enjoyable. So what does that mean? Well, you are not eating a healthy nutrition. You're not eating a nutritious and healthy diet. Maybe you're not eating enough. You're eating insufficient amounts of food and you're hurting your body. Maybe you're eating too much. Literally, sometimes people make themselves physically sick, right? I ate so much, my stomach hurts. So maybe you are not submitting your best quality work in school or on your job. Whatever, who cares? It was late. It was not, it was half of what it could have been. You didn't really pay attention. You didn't read anything. You don't care. Okay. Treating yourself badly. You look in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth, and you say to yourself, you're so ugly. Treating yourself badly. You're not brushing your teeth. Treating yourself badly. Not taking care of yourself is treating yourself badly. With what you eat, with your hygiene, with your movement and getting active, and we're just going to exercise, with your, every time you insult yourself, I can't, look in the mirror, I look horrible, and people have a million variations on this, right? So I'm looking in the mirror, something's too big, it's too small, I look too young, I look too old, it's the wrong color, it's the wrong shape, it's the wrong size, it's just, it never stops. There are people I can sit with, and I have. So I said, as a lawyer, I've had these conversations. I've definitely had them doing consulting, corporate and individual mentoring and coaching, right, where I'm working with an individual. And people will sit there and just go on and on and on about just like one thing. Oh, my hair, I hate it. Oh, it's so ugly, blah, 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 this. It's too whatever, too straight, too curly, too coarse, too fine, too limp, too full, too, people just go on, and I know if they're saying all of that to a stranger, I can only imagine, and that's got to be a fraction of what they're thinking, right? Every time you treat yourself badly, and bad is lower poor quality, it's incorrect or not proper, it's not pleasant. So if you're not being pleasant, if you're not being pleasing, it's not enjoyable. If it's a lower poor quality, so again, that could be your diet is in lower poor quality. It could be your work product is in lower poor quality. It could be that you're sabotaging yourself with your skills in terms of organization and self-discipline. Everything is way too early and it's not correct. Everything is way too late. Every single time. You know who's really rejoicing? Because it's not you. Because every single time you treat yourself badly, then there's going to be a consequence, right? Oh, wow, I didn't eat enough. I ate too much. I turned my work in late. I turned in stuff that was poorly done. I got bad feedback from my job. I received horrible feedback of my education. I received horrible feedback from my volunteer job. Every single time you do something where you treat yourself badly, there's a bad outcome, right? It's not pleasant. And in addition to that, though, forget that, though. That's what we're not. That's not the purpose of this show. We've talked about that in many other programs. What I really want you to think about is this: whoever or whatever it is that you would tell me is part of the reason why you are not surpassing your goals and you're not practicing the joyful art of business. And these things are, as I said many times, I absolutely 1,000%, and that's not mathematically accurate, but I completely concur with your assertion. So many times people explain things to me, I say, my goodness, that totally makes sense. I get it. Wow. They're, they're accurate. They're right. In this, system, economically, culturally, politically, whatever. They're right. That's awful that happened. or that individual did that, or those groups of individuals, or I can't believe that educational institution, or that job, or I can't believe that, right? That's awful. It's horrible. And sometimes people might be talking, maybe it's corruption, maybe it's nepotism. There's all kind of things we can, and they're telling me these things, and I'm thinking, wow, you were accurate. This is awful. It's horrible. That is your enemy, right? Corruption is your enemy. Nepotism is your enemy. I'm with you. And then you turn around and you take something that's absolutely accurate and valid and healthy and logical, and then you turn it against yourself and you start to treat yourself badly, which then destroys your entire system. It's not logical. If the complaint is, I was set up to fail, and then you turn around and you do exactly that, you take actions to ensure your failure, then who's the only party that benefits? I use the word rejoice. Look in the show notes. I have the dictionary definition of bad. I have the dictionary definition of badly. Okay, because of course derived from bad. So badly means in a bad manner. That's why we put both definitions. Badly means to a great degree. So you're definitely turning it up, right? You're treating yourself such low, poor quality, incorrect, improper, not pleasant, not pleasing, or enjoyable. Your dictionary definition of badly, severely or seriously. You've gone to the highest level of treating yourself poorly. So you're brushing your teeth and you're looking in the mirror. Oh, look, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly. I can't believe this. Or you're getting dressed. Oh, I can't believe this. I'm too large. I'm too small. I'm too, whatever it is that your thing is. And there you are, insulting yourself and degrading yourself. And every single time you do that, the only entity that is going to benefit in theory, and often in practice, let's be very real about this, is whatever enemies. And the show notes, what's the definition of enemy before I get the definition of rejoice? So the definition of enemy. One that is antagonistic to another, especially one seeking to injure, overthrow, or confound an opponent. So if you're in a situation in life where we're discussing something and you're explaining to me, hey, the opportunities that you were denied to have the quality education, that wasn't an accident. That was intentional. Now, it's not intentional for you as an individual human, but it's a system that was set up like that. And not setting up a system at all is a choice. So if you came from a place and said, look, I was denied any opportunity education. And that happens. It happens today, right now, as we're having this program. In some parts of the world, it happens because of economics. And just sort of wherever, the geography of wherever somebody resides. In some parts of the world, it happens because of gender. In some parts of the world, it happens because of different issues with different religious groups or political groups or socioeconomic groups or ethnic groups or whatever. That wasn't an accident. It was intentionally set up like that. For some reason, it has nothing to do with you individually, but it's for the larger framework of the system. So if the system was intentionally set up to deprive a group or groups of opportunities to have the high quality and best education so that they could then get out and compete in a global economy and live their dreams and do whatever it is that they have the capability to do at the highest level so that they can surpass their goals, the system was set up like that, which it was. Any system like you go to in the world, it's set up like it currently is for a reason. Or for multiple reasons, obviously, right? It's the history, sometimes it's the geography of the region, it's the politics, it's the economic development, it's all of this together, but it's a reason. And again, it's not individual, but it's set up like that. So if you're in a group that is being deprived an opportunity, that people are, let's look at that definition again, enemies, antagonistic to another, or seeking to injure, overthrow, or confound an opponent. Let's look at the rest of the definition on page 176 of the show note page. Enemies, something harmful or deadly. And then it gives you some sub definitions. A military adversary, which happens, or a hostile unit or force. Harmful. So if you had, again, an education opportunity, if you had a lack of healthy diet, if you had a poor quality air quality, poor water quality, if you had poor access to anybody to explain to you how the larger society operated in terms of professional and economic opportunity tied to your education. So maybe you're in a part of the world where you'll say, hey, I went to school in the States. You'd say I went to high school, but I didn't have anybody ever explain to me why I needed to even think about, trade school or college or university or anything. Nobody even said anything. People just said, hey, it's a miracle if you graduate. Nobody even asked me what I wanted to do, or nobody even explained to me what some of the tests were that were available to gain entrance into the university. I didn't even know what those were. Nobody even told me about it. So you were being denied what other people were receiving. Other people might have had families that took them on tours from the time they were 12 years old. If this is the type of school that you could go to, or let's prepare and get you a tutor so that you're ready to apply to the best universities in the world. I mean, that was an advantage. We're just going to label generically if you were denied that, if your opportunity of your people that you lived with, if the school that you went to didn't provide that to you, then you were denied that. You're just going to label that an enemy because it was harmful, right? It was harmful. So what do you do about that? The thing that I said that made me eager to do this is because I've seen it in so many settings as someone providing legal services, trying to help somebody fix a problem. Often, not always, but often, that they created. They committed a crime. There you go. As an educator. So somebody sabotages themselves, right? They don't read the assignment, they don't read the course instructions or syllabus, they don't turn in stuff on time, and then they sit there and they start getting really angry. Oh, these things are happening. Well, yeah, but you're the one that controlled all of that. When you submit something that you didn't even bother to check the instructions and make it your best work product, and if you turned it in either late or not at all, then things aren't going well in terms of your grades or the scores. But that's not anything that anybody other than you did. If you spend time poisoning your own mind and body, so you're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh, it's no wonder, nobody at lunch at work asked me if I wanted to go with them. I'm just so stupid. Nobody wants to be my friend. I'm so dumb. I always say the stupid things. Nobody likes me. I wish I was, better. I wish I was, somebody else. I just don't understand why I'm so stupid. And then all the other variations, right? People beating themselves up. I'm too tall. I'm too small. I'm too large. I'm too this. I'm too that. Something's the wrong shape. Something's the wrong color. Something's the wrong, whatever. There are people who, while they're out in the world, instead of asking themselves, how can I surpass my goals, which is one of our program fundamentals, or asking, am I practicing the joyful art of business? Do I feel, good? Do I feel bad? They're not even doing any of that. All they're doing is sitting around in their mind, poisoning themselves, treating themselves badly, insulting themselves. There are people who sit there and in a meeting, right, instead of paying any attention to what's happening, they're sitting there just thinking things like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have tried to wear this outfit. It's too big. It doesn't fit right, and everybody's looking at me and thinking how stupid I look, and it's because I am stupid, and it's because I don't have the right type of clothes, and now everyone's just looking at me, and I'm so uncomfortable, and I don't like this outfit, and it's about to fall off, and I'm so embarrassed, and I just am worried. What if someone says something, or somebody sees how stupid it is, or the opposite? Oh, it's too small. I can barely wear this. I can't even breathe. I can't believe I'm trying to wear this. I look so stupid. I'm so fat. Why did I do this? Or I'm too bulky, or come on. The details are irrelevant in terms of what your specific thing is that you're lamenting and poisoning your mind and your emotional health about. The point is that you're treating yourself badly. What I want you to know and to be fully aware of by being part of this program is that every single time, and I mean each time that you do this, enemy rejoices. So if you tell me again, oh, I was denied opportunity to the to the school system that I should have had, to the type of schools, to the type of education, so that I would have had the best understanding of what I needed to do for the rest of my life, right? So I would have the best skills and the best education, but I didn't get that. I'm angry, just like you are. But then if you turn around with that and then you continue to treat yourself badly, right? Oh, I'm not going to try hard. I'm not even going to apply. I'm not going to ask it for extra help. I'm confused, but it must just be because I'm too stupid. If you continue to treat yourself badly, then at some point, it's not just your enemy that this lack of educational opportunity. You are your enemy because you're doing this. But the problem is you can't rejoice because you're the one that's suffering. And like I said earlier, let's just assume for the sake of discussion that these things aren't accidental. So you were denied the educational opportunity, you were denied the access to knowing about nutrition, you were denied the access to having a healthy self-image. Maybe you heard cultural messages or media messages that people who look like you or are not desirable or not beautiful or not intelligent or not worthwhile or not handsome, whatever. Or maybe you had individual people who said to you, hey, you're nothing, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're horrible, I wish you were not on the planet, or whatever. If that happens, that's horrible. I'm angry about that. That is the enemy. But if you take that and then you continue with what someone else dumped on you because they want you to fail. The only reason somebody is going to poison you and treat you badly, right? Deny you opportunity, deny you access to learning about health and nutrition, deny you access to understanding your own individual value and talents, and degrading your physical appearance or degrading your ethnicity or degrading your national origin or your religion or whatever. The only reason that's happening is because, again, it's not an accident. None of this stuff is accidental. It's intentional. It might not be that the individual who says or does something that's bad to you is the mastermind of it, but they're pulling the messages that they're using with you from somewhere else. It's a larger system. And what I'm saying is that whatever entity, whatever cultural, historical, societal factors have shaped that didn't happen accidentally. We humans, we're all the same. We're humans, okay? And so we're out and about in the world. And so one of the things I love studying, and I take as many classes as I possibly can for my time schedule, is, again, one, history, so you can get a narrative in different parts of the world, different time frames about how similar humans are. And then, of course, I like studying things like sociology. I like studying things like anthropology, right? And what you'll see is that the details change, right? But the big picture narrative is the same story. So we're all the same humans, and most of us, my hope is we're potentially shaped by the forces around us. So if we have the support and nurturing and lots of good education from our birth forward, then there's a high likelihood and probability that we're going to turn out to be contributing positively and practicing joyful art business, and have overall, when we look back at our time, quote, a good life, right? We also know from our study of all these different areas, also, of course, criminology, psychology, that we are influenced by, beyond our own minds and our own thoughts, we're influenced by the outside, the external. So the society, the cultural expectations, stereotypes, and beliefs. We're influenced by what people tell us. If you take somebody and you have them grow up in an environment from birth on, and they're told, you're wonderful, you're smart, you make great choices, we trust you, you're, all this kind of reinforcement. Often what you'll get is somebody who believes that stuff. If you get someone who's brought from birth and told the opposite, right? They're told you're horrible, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the universe. We wish you were never born. You're an idiot. You're a loser. You're worthless. They believe that. I want to underscore, though, that it's a multitude of messages that we all get. So there's some of them are literally wherever you were since you were, an infant, or even in many instances before you were born, right? Kind of nutrition you had as you were developing into a viable human, the type of sounds you might have heard, how people treated you, and that's why I talk about prenatal care so much. It's extremely important, right? We also know that we don't have any control over any of this. None of us do. We just sort of, hey, to the best of our knowledge as we understand it, that's the womb we ended up in somewhere, and here we are. And then you're in an environment, again, beyond our control. Humans, we look at other species, I sometimes get a little, wistful, because some other species have so much of an ability to be more independent earlier on in their life cycle. Humans have this long period where we're incredibly vulnerable, right? We can't even walk. We can't even crawl. Here we are, little newborns are just vulnerable. And so we're again, totally at the mercy of wherever we just ended up. That's just ain't nothing we can do about it. None of us can do anything about any of this. I have to mention this. I was watching some of the historical shows about the end of the early part of the 1900s. So like 1900, 1910, 1915, and it was about a very I was watching about people who had means, very wealthy, and so apparently from many other sources, but this just reminded me when I saw this recently, wealthy people at that time, and now at the time of recording this program today, sometimes this happens, but very wealthy people, so they have a lot of money and resources. What they would do is they would have their child. So we just talked about the humans. We're all humans, right? We become to the point that we're able to at least be a viable human so that we can breathe and be able to, live in the environment here. That itself is, so there we are, we're a viable human. And then what would happen with a very wealthy family is that they, because they had so many resources, they had a lot of labor resources. So they would have other people take care of we just talked about the little baby, poor little, our species, we're totally vulnerable. And so someone, nannies and people would take care of the child, and the parent, the biological parents, would have very little interaction, maybe a few minutes a day, but they didn't, spend anywhere near the amount of time that we often think in modern times of what you do when you have a new child. That we talk about how it disrupts people's sleep and how, all this transition and how, momentous it is. But I'm thinking back to the information from the historical time periods that people had the means. It didn't disrupt their life at all, really, because they didn't take care of the child. Somebody else had to feed the child and change the child and 24 hours a day be monitoring the child, but it wasn't the people who were the parents, because they had the financial means to have other people do it, and they had so little interaction. And so they might have the child maybe in their same mansion or castle or plantation or whatever for a certain amount of time, but they saw that child literally a few minutes a day, maybe and then at a certain point the child was sent away to these really exclusive educational facilities, to boarding school, at a really young age, relatively speaking, and that was it. So I was sort of saddened, because I thought, okay, well, from the outside, many of us would think, wow, if people were born into those time periods and they were that wealthy and they had all those resources, often it's envy. Wow, can you imagine? Look at all that wealth, look at all of that. But then I thought, how sad. And it makes a lot of sense when you read a lot of, artwork, novels, poetry, and plays, and from people who have noted and observed some of these issues. Even though there was all these financial resources, there was no bonding, really, and there was no connection with these parents because they weren't there. I mean, they might have been in the same sort of vicinity generally, but they weren't the one that woke up to, take care of a crying baby. They weren't the ones that changed their diapers, or, not saying they had diapers, but whatever, that, cleaned them and fed them, all that. All they did was sort of have other people do that. They're laborers. And then every once in a while they'd see the child, I assume, and it was, in a good mood and cleaned, and then they'd sort of, play with it, I guess, or spend a little time with it when it was, but then it went right back to their caregivers. So I don't want to sound totally judgmental, but some of the effects we know when we study things, human development and sociology and psychology, is that there's a real consequence to never having that time where you bond with your parents, or parent, or anybody. Because all you have are these labor individuals who took care of the child, and then when the child's a couple years older, then they just send it to a boarding school where it literally lives there, and then they see it a couple of times a year, and that's it. So again, the grass isn't always greener. And what's my point on this? My point is that even though we would think, well, that's somebody who wasn't denied anything, that's not someone who had enemies. Yeah, I would say, someone who says, hey, I never even really knew those people. I saw them a little bit, but, they didn't spend any time with me. I saw them a couple hours a week when I was a really, really, really young child. And then I saw them a couple times a year from the time I was, 9 years old, and that's it. And then I went to boarding school, and then I went to do whatever it is I did the rest of my life. And it does have a ramification. There are people in all different settings in life. There are what we call the enemies, right? The enemy may be denying somebody the optimum situation that we understand to have provided them the best opportunities in any of these situations. So it could be someone who's under restricted socioeconomic resources, or it could be somebody with bountiful socioeconomic resources and still was denied other things that were necessary for the optimum outcome. The point, though, is what do you do about it now? My point is there's a lot of different aspects to this that we talk about in many different programs, but the thing I really want to ensure we address here is that you remind yourself that each time that you do something where you're treating yourself badly, you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm ugly, I'm not smart enough, I knew I'd mess up, I'm not good enough, I'm the wrong size, I'm the wrong shade, I'm the wrong ethnicity, I'm the wrong gender, I'm the wrong this, I'm not good enough, I'm too stupid, I'm dumb, I'm bad. And then you don't eat as healthily as you could, and you don't take care of your body, and you don't take care of your teeth, and you don't take care of your hygiene, and you don't take care of your time management, and you don't take care of your work quality. Every time you do this, all you're doing is carrying out the desires of those enemies. And that should be a wake-up call. I really want that to be like pouring, a bucket of cold water on your head. You need to snap into reality. If not even for your own self-interest, that you take care of your hygiene, your health, and you won't poison your mind against yourself, and you won't sabotage your success by poor time management, poor work quality, poor attendance. If not for yourself, because many people are so programmed into this that they are unable to save themselves, right? And we've talked about some of these issues. Learned helplessness. Right, if you haven't taken part in that concept of some of the other programs, please come to the show page and look at some of the links. And you always, of course, can reach out to me and ask me if you have any questions. But there's research that shows people get to a point where they're so programmed to treat themselves badly, they just keep doing it. So if you're unable to save yourself, which is not, again, an unusual thing, it's a studied condition. What I'm going to ask you in the interim, before you even get to the point where you can save yourself for your own self-interest, I want you to stop rewarding that enemy. And I hope this will be more effective in some ways, because like I said, I've had, I don't know how many conversations with people where they're telling me about the poor education, they're telling me about the poor emotional, loving situation they were denied. They were telling me about direct messages that told them, this is not their imagination, that told them people like them, quote unquote, they're failures. They're not good enough. They're not smart enough. They're not successful, whatever. And none of that's imaginary. Like I said earlier, I'm with the person. I'm 100% sitting there like, oh my goodness, this is horrible, right? That's the enemy. The enemy, whatever message it told you that. My point was that, one, remember, it wasn't an accident, and it's not personal. Because it's groups. It's not like, it's you, the individual human of all the 7 billion plus people on the planet. What it is just you're in the group. And that was the message to the group that the society gave. And that's been absorbed by everybody else in the culture. What I said to you is you need to ask yourself at some level, why did the message come out like that? I'm making the argument that whoever designed these messages, they did it usually for their own benefit. So if I'm in one group and I can just sort of put something out there in the society that says that this other group is yucky, then it's going to make my life really easy, because all the people in the quote yucky group, which is just an imaginary thing I made up, but whatever, the people in that group, if I can make them believe that, then they're not going to compete with me for jobs or housing or education or opportunity at all. My life is much easier simply because I have less people to compete with. Now, am I oversimplifying this? Yes. But the sort of the macro picture of this is somewhat accurate. That's why study history, study world events, study anthropology. You're going to see the same behaviors over and over again. The details will change, like the names of the groups, but that's not in the time period. But that really, to me, isn't the point. What I'm asking you is understand that that's a designed message, and it's not some sort of accident. It's a commercial. It's advertising. So it's like if you see a television commercial or you see a commercial on the internet, and it's telling you that something is literally the best, food you can ever buy at that restaurant. You know as an adult that that's not true. They're just telling you it's the best because they want you to go to that restaurant and buy that food. That's an advertisement. And as an adult, we have critical thinking and we know, wait a minute, that doesn't mean it's the best. It just means that they want me to believe that, so I go to that restaurant and give them my money. That's totally normal. We should do as much marketing as we can, right? The point is we can hopefully see when we're being sold something and when to discard it and when to say, I don't believe that's the best food just because they said it was, right? It's the same thing with all these other messages. What makes you too small, too large, too young, too old, too wide, too narrow, what made you that? Who told you that? It's the same ad, some other ad. What are they selling? They're selling that they don't want you to compete. They want you to go self-sabotage somewhere so they can go use whatever resources. That makes life easier when you have less competition. It's an ad. And it's just as imaginary as somebody telling you that that restaurant is the best restaurant. It's just as imaginary because they just made it up. They just told you that. Now, it may be that they have other places where they can say, look, we have a review from somebody who's an expert that said this is some of the best food. Okay, maybe. But I can guarantee you I can find somebody who went to that restaurant and said they went there and it was yucky. They didn't like it at all. We're being marketed to all the time. And again, I'm an entrepreneur and a business professor and love business. I think we should be marketed to because businesses need to sell their products and services. We're being marketed to, though, not just by commercial entities. We're being marketed to all the time by philosophy, by political, by just psychologically we're being marketed to. All this stuff is marketing. As long as we know that, I'm not against it. I see ads all the time. I hear ads. It doesn't do anything negative to me necessarily. Okay, that commercial says that restaurant claims they're the best. Okay. I don't redefine my entire eating expectation around one ad, and neither should you. And it's the same thing with these other messages. Who told you that you're the wrong gender, you're the wrong size, you're the wrong religion, who told you this? And then go bigger than that and ask yourself, why would they tell you that? Well, I guarantee you it's because at some level it benefited somebody. And it still does. Otherwise you change the ad. It's like this. If we see a commercial over and over again, even if it's a really bad commercial, I'll always say this to myself. I'll say, that's an awful commercial, right? It's just done poorly, or the music is bad, or, especially like, let's say it's a video commercial, so something you saw on the internet or on television, and you'll think that commercial is yucky. It's really stupid. It's a dumb commercial. But here's the thing. If you see that commercial over and over and over again, it tells you one thing, that it's working. That's why you keep seeing it, because somebody has to pay for it. Somebody had to pay to put it out there. And I guarantee you, if it didn't work, they weren't making money off of it, they'd stop running it. That's what you do in the market. All the time people ask me questions they say, oh, what I want to do with my career, or I think I want to be a professional speaker, or I think I want to be, an entrepreneur, or I think I want to be an executive, how do I know? How do I know if I'm any good? And I'll say to them, the market will tell you. What I mean by that is go out there and see what happens. Do people pay you for this? If you say, oh, I want to be a clothes designer, well, do people pay you for your clothes design? Oh, yeah. People in my neighborhood keep asking me for more, and they bought everything I had. And okay, that's telling you that, yeah, keep doing it. If you keep doing something and the market tells you that nobody wants it because you don't have any money, then that means you either need to change it or you got to let go. But you can't keep doing the same thing because you don't have the ability financially to support it. It's the same thing with ads. They will stop running that ad if it is not working. They're only going to run it if it works. So why is that? Why is there an ad, in society, in your culture, that makes you think that you're, whatever, not good enough, less valuable, not as intelligent, you shouldn't apply for the job, you shouldn't work hard, that you don't matter, that that you need to go ahead and just waste your time committing crimes and sitting around somewhere wasting your time on something like that. What that ad is still running because it works. So my question to you simply is this: what do you want? And again, if you don't have the ability to save yourself yet, if you don't see your own value and beauty and understand that you inherently are completely worth it, if you don't believe that yet, I'm at least asking you to believe this. Whatever enemy it is that you have identified, and I'm honestly, uniformly, everybody that I've ever had any of these discussions related to this issue, they can tell me why it is they think they're having all these challenges. They can blame, and sometimes, like I said, rightfully so, education, opportunity, lack of nurturing, whatever. And they're not wrong, and they're not even imagining that message because it was accurate. It did happen. My question to you is, if you can identify your enemy, which people can, and often really angrily, which is somewhat reasonable. My point is, then stop giving the enemy what they want. They want you to fail. That's their whole goal in giving you all these messages. You're not pretty, you're not smart, you're not handsome, you're not strong enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. People like you from whatever fill in the blank group, religion, national origin, ethnicity, cultural background, social class, caste, tribe, they want you. You're not good enough. People like you never accomplish anything. Your people are nothing. Why are they giving you that message? Because it's working. The ad's working. It's keeping you out of the competition stream. It's keeping you away from the resources that they have. And my point simply is that part of what we've seen, these incredible changes globally in the last, it's just amazing, in the last couple of generations, where I, as a female, have so many rights that my grandparents and parents didn't have. And exactly as I am, I have so many opportunities. Literally, the system is opened up. I'm allowed to do things I couldn't even do. I would have been arrested if I'd gone to some place to sit at a store, just, my parents when they were young. The law, people, the law and the culture, people, you couldn't even do that. You literally, people went to jail for stuff like this. And I am a generation, I was born at a time historically in a part of the world where I've had a shot at getting out and doing different things and having opportunity that wasn't available. So I'm going to do everything that I can think of to surpass my goals and to practice joyful art of business. And I'm going to not give my enemy what they want, because remember, they're your enemy. And they are. Like I said, people can always articulate to me at least some of what it is that's caused these problems, and they're not inaccurate. I'm sitting there nodding along with them like, that is horrible. That's happened to you, and that's a horrible thing, and you're denied this and that, and my heart's going out to you. But then you turn around and you do exactly what your enemy wants you to do, what they're trained you to do with those messages. You do it to yourself. Stop! Stop. I'm literally begging you. Every time that poisonous thought, oh, you're so dumb, you're not good enough, you're going to fail. Stop. That's what the enemy. Every time you're eating unhealthily, or you're not taking and monitoring your body and your health. Stop. Every time you abuse something, alcohol, food, exercise, work, prescription medication. Why? Stop. Every time you intentionally sabotage yourself, not planning ahead, running late, getting your time messed up, not following details correctly, not putting in your best work. Every time. That's what the enemy has put out there as their ad, and it's exactly what they want. That's why they gave that message, and the only reason they're still running that ad is because it's working, because you're doing it. And I'm asking you, I am begging you, I'm imploring you, don't do that. And the easiest way to do this is every time you start to do that, you're treating yourself badly. We went through the definitions on the page, so you remember what bad and badly, you know what those are. You know what those are. Every time you're doing that, you're telling yourself something negative in your mind about yourself. You're not planning ahead. You're turning in poor quality work. That's all. That's what they want. Stop. You already are frustrated about this. You know that that's not fair, that happened, that you were denied, the loving family relationship or whatever. So don't give them what they want. Again, hopefully we're going to get through a process, and this is the beginning of it, where eventually you'll realize your own worth and your own value, and then it'll be based on those healthier, foundations of moving forward. But in the interim, I just need you to at least give me a ceasefire. I need you to stop doing what the enemy wants, because all they're doing is rejoicing. And there on the show page, it says, rejoice is to feel or show that you're very happy about something. Yeah. If someone has trained you, conditioned you with advertising that you're not good enough, and then you go out and you do it to yourself, I'm not good enough, then that's what they wanted. That's what they told you. So why are you doing this? And let's just start with this. We're going to do a ceasefire, and we are going to stop treating ourselves badly. So what you eat, treat yourself well. Your hygiene, brushing your teeth, taking care of yourself, treat yourself well. When you look in the mirror, if you can't say anything nice, then we'll just start with, you're not going to say anything poisonous that's an advertising message that is worthless to you. So we're not going to hear any of this garbage. Oh, look at me. I don't look right. I'm too ugly. I'm this, I'm that. Stop it. Remember, everything that's bad that you do to yourself is all coming from these places where someone has told you and trained you to do this. They want you to do it. Stop doing what they want. And and at least when we start with this, and we're going to do the ceasefire, and you're going to stop doing the bad thing, and at least when you're looking in the mirror and you're washing your face, we're not going to have the poisonous thoughts, then you're at least going to think decent, non-abusive thoughts. So things like, glad I got my face washed. It feels good. Leave it at that. Maybe you're not to a point yet where you can look in the mirror and say, oh, I look pretty nice, look healthy. Yes. If you can't get to that place yet, that's all right. This is a process. This is just the beginning. But I really am, like I said, I was eager to do this program because this is such a common issue. And again, in so many other programs, we're trying to talk about, your value and what you're worth and all this kind of stuff. But that's maybe a step beyond. We need to at least get to somebody to a point to understand that every single time that you self-harm, and your thoughts and what you eat and how much you sleep and how hydrated you are and how kind you are to others and how kind you are to yourself. And that also means holding your boundaries, right? When you let people take advantage of you, when you let people be abusive to you, when you let people disrespect you, all of that is abuse. All of that is you treating yourself badly. Every single time you're doing it, that enemy, which you already know who that entity is because you could tell me, and you do when we work one-on-one together. So stop giving them what they want. Stop. You're not going to treat yourself badly from this moment on. It's done. We finished it. You may not be able to start treating yourself better, but at least you're not going to treat yourself badly. It's not going to happen. Stop giving them that rejoicing time. They don't deserve it. So I hope this was at least a way to frame some of these ideas and help you begin to think through and work through some of these things, so that when you sabotage and you do these things that are so negative to hurt yourself, that you understand that of course it's like we talked about, right? These messages are out there. You may have been someone who has had consistent messages, and again, like we said, beginning of our human time here, independent, autonomous beings, we're just so dependent on our environment, or whatever's around, because we don't have any control. We're little. Our species, wow, what can we do when we come out of the sort of gestational and development period? I mean, if we're able to breathe and have our independent sort of circulatory system and functions, then that's the win, right? But we're so dependent on we need to be fed, we can't, we need to be cleaned, and so we are often in environments that may have set some of these messages very early in life. So again, this was a show I was super eager about. Please come to CourtneyAnderson.com. Please leave a review or rating on wherever you're getting the show, and again, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever. I want to thank my international, global audience from the state, different parts of the states, from Europe, from South America, from Asia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do want to ask you, if you do have the opportunity, as we talked about ads, to come to CourtneyAnderson.com, that you will see some of our ads for our sponsors. As I said a little while ago, I mean, I'm a business person, and this show is a thrill and it's a joy to do. And I'm trying to do everything in my power to come up with different ways of us to grow the business and grow these different program opportunities. And I'll add additional programs with webinars and additional seminars and things like that. So please visit our show pages, any of our show pages at CourtneyAnderson.com. You'll see ads and affiliate links, and do click on those and support those show sponsors if there's anything there that you think that might be a service that or good that you would benefit from. But please, from this moment on, just at a bare minimum, just use that disappointment or that anger about the things that that those enemies have been a part of your life. Use that anger and say to yourself, I'm not going to give them one more moment. I'm not going to give that enemy one more moment to rejoice. Not one more moment. So I'm going to get stuff done early and on time. I'm going to get in charge of my schedule. I'm going to teach people how to that I'm not going to be taken advantage of, and I'm going to treat my body physically, my physical body. I'm going to treat my mind well. Because every single time I treat myself badly, it's all that my enemy is doing is rejoicing. Yay, it worked. So we're not going to do that any longer. That enemy is going to have to find another way to get a little bit of good news, but it's not going to come from us treating ourselves badly, because we're done. It's over. Again, thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.